The first time somebody pounded on my front door so hard the picture frames rattled, I thought maybe it was some kind of emergency, maybe a gas leak or a neighbor in trouble. But then I heard the voice, sharp, bossy, the kind that tries to crawl under your skin. "This is Officer Ray. Open up, or we'll break the door down." And right there, with my coffee mug halfway to my lips, I knew something was wrong. Because I'd been a cop for over 20 years, and I could smell a fake uniform before I even saw one. Through the frosted glass, the red and blue lights flickered like some low-budget cop show. My wife, Sarah, looked up from the couch, her face pale. "What do they want?" she whispered. I leaned closer to the door, and sure enough, 3 shaved heads in knockoff uniforms were standing there, guns on their hips, tattoos crawling down their arms. The ringleader was Ray, bald skull shining under the porch light, veins pumping like he was auditioning for a mob movie. Behind him were his muscle, Tony with a skull tattoo stretched across his bicep, and Briggs, tall and broad with flames inked from wrist to elbow. They weren't cops. They weren't even close. They were theater. Now here's the thing. You move into a quiet little cul-de-sac. You think you've bought peace. That's what I wanted. After decades of chaos, I wanted backyard barbecues, sprinklers at sunset, neighbors who waved when they got the mail. And for a while, that's what we had. Pies from across the street, kids racing bikes, even the retired lineman next door who kept his radio tuned to baseball like it was stuck there. But then came the flyers. Community security, keeping our streets safe. Official-looking fonts, no phone number that checked out. At first, I laughed it off. By the time the first ticket showed up on my windshield, $50 for perimeter maintenance, whatever that meant, I wasn't laughing anymore. Sarah asked me if we should just pay it, just to make the problem go away. I told her no. We don't feed fraud, we document it. And that's exactly what we did. Photos, timestamps, county records showing clear as day there was no HOA, no security division. Just 3 bald bullies playing dress-up. Still, fear spreads fast in a neighborhood. Old Mrs. Lang down the block handed over a check the second Ray slapped a citation in her hands. I watched her shoulders slump as if she'd just been scolded by the law. That was the game. Not money, at least not yet. It was control. Make people flinch when they see you. Make them check the blinds twice before stepping outside. I stepped in once, told Mrs. Lang she didn't owe them a dime. Ray smiled at me, thin and poisonous, like he was already planning how to deal with me. And sure enough, the next week, the letters started. Folded sheets under the doormat, no signatures. Work with us or leave. You're making enemies you don't want. Even cruel little notes that said, outsiders don't belong here. Sarah read them with her lips pressed tight, trying to hide the way her hands shook. She asked me one night, "Do you ever think we made a mistake moving here?" And I told her the truth. No, we didn't make the mistake. They did. That's when our neighbor Tom showed up, nervous as a cat. "Mike," he whispered, "you need to be careful. Ray's telling folks you're undermining community safety. People are listening." I wanted to believe Tom was looking out for me, but the way his eyes darted, the way his words sounded rehearsed, I knew. He was carrying messages. And the cameras I later caught of him sitting across from Ray at the community center proved it. My neighbor had been turned into an informant, whether by fear or by choice. That cut deeper than I expected. Then came the night Ray crossed the line. He marched up my driveway with Tony and Briggs at his side, a little crowd of neighbors trailing behind like spectators. He pointed at Sarah on our porch and barked loud enough for the whole block. "You're under arrest for violating community safety codes." Sarah didn't flinch. She just tilted her head and said, calm as ever, "You're no officer. You don't have the authority to arrest anyone." That rattled him. He stepped forward, hand brushing his gun, and that's when I came down the walkway with a folder full of county records. "Step off my property," I told him, steady and low. "You've got no charter, no badge, no authority. And I've got the proof right here." Phones came out. Neighbors leaned closer. And for the first time, I saw cracks in his mask. He snarled back, "Paperwork means nothing when people's lives are at risk. Your wife's hiding something. For all we know, she's the real threat." And just like that, he turned their eyes on her, planting doubt like poison. Sarah didn't blink. She looked him dead in the eye and said, "You're manufacturing fear, Richard. That's what predators do." The crowd wavered. Somebody shouted, "If he's really a cop, let him show his badge number." And that's when Ray froze. Mouth open, nothing coming out. He muttered something about sensitive information, but it was too late. The illusion cracked. That night, Sarah finally told me what she'd been holding back for years. She wasn't just a fitness consultant, not even close. She unzipped a bag and pulled out a crisp black uniform, insignia stitched over the heart, a golden trident I recognized from the Navy. My wife was Senior Chief Petty Officer Sarah Walker, Navy SEAL instructor. Everything clicked. The discipline, the way she always scanned exits, the calm under pressure. She admitted it wasn't just about hiding her job, it was about protecting me. And now Ray had sniffed too close. From that moment, we went on offense. Sarah sketched our street on butcher paper, circled the houses Ray targeted. Widows, retirees, easy prey. She called it a coercion cycle. Tickets, threats, then forced compliance. She set up cameras in our birdhouse, microphones in the porch light, sensors around the yard. By midnight, our place looked like a forward operating base. And it paid off. We caught Ray shaking hands with strangers in another SUV, passing envelopes, pointing at addresses on a clipboard labeled Phase 2, Compliance Expansion. That's when we realized this wasn't just about our block. It was organized, bigger, and we just stepped into their spotlight. We knew we needed to pull him into the open. So we organized a community safety meeting, the kind of stage Ray couldn't resist. Saturday evening, the center was packed. Neighbors filled folding chairs, phones ready to record. Sarah stood at the projector with a calm that rattled even me. Ray swaggered in with his muscle, puffed chest, fake badge stitched to his shirt. "Ladies and gentlemen," he boomed, "tonight we address the Walker problem." He didn't get another word before Sarah hit play. Up on the wall, his own voice echoed, "Sign the compliance form, pay the fine, and it ends here." Gasps filled the room. Ray tried to laugh it off. "Fabricated, spliced together," he claimed. Sarah cut him off. "If that's true, then show us your badge number. Right now." Silence. Phones lifted higher. Sweat rolled down his shiny head. And then, snap, he pulled his pistol. The room erupted, screams, chairs scraping, parents shielding kids. He waved it wildly, barking, "Nobody moves until I say so." But Sarah didn't flinch. "You just crossed into aggravated assault," she said, voice steady. "Put the gun down before you make this worse." He sneered, "You're bluffing." She gave him 3 seconds. And when he lunged, she moved. It was over in a blur. His wrist twisted, the gun clattering to the floor, his legs swept out, his face slammed to the linoleum. Sarah pinned him with a knee, zip-tied his hands, and declared, "You're under citizen's arrest for impersonating an officer, fraud, intimidation, and assault with a deadly weapon." The crowd's phones caught it all. And just as Vince and Briggs froze in shock, the back doors burst open, local police and federal agents swarming in. Turns out, Sarah had already called in favors. Captain Rodriguez himself walked in, nodded at us, and said, "Thanks to them, we've got everything we need." Ray, all named Richard Howard, was hauled off spitting curses, warning, "You think I'm the only one? You have no idea how deep this goes." And maybe he wasn't lying. The investigation later uncovered a network of fake HOAs across 6 states, targeting military families, scaring them out of homes, flipping properties through shell companies. Millions in fraud. Neighbors who once avoided us came by with pies and apologies. Sarah didn't hold grudges, but she never turned her back on them again either. Months later, the community was reborn. New playgrounds, oversight boards, even a unity day where Sarah taught kids how to stand tall, how to break a wrist grip, how to use their voice. Her motto stuck with me. Strength means protecting others, not controlling them. And yet, in the quiet moments, when the sun sets over our cul-de-sac, I still hear his words echo. "You think I'm the only one." Maybe he wasn't. Maybe we were just the first to push back. So here's my question for you. Was Ray just a bully with a big ego? Or was he part of something much bigger, something still lurking out there? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Because this story isn't just about one neighborhood. It's about power, control, and what happens when ordinary people finally say no. And if you've ever had your own battle with a fake authority or a crooked HOA, share it below. I want to know how you handled it. Now tell me, if it were your door they were pounding on, would you have opened it or stood your ground?